So what has the real estate market been up to? You know you want to know. Let's dive into these numbers. It's Shelly Killinger here from the Shelly Killinger Group at RE/MAX CSI. So today we're taking a look at the real estate market in the southwest section of the Pittsburgh market from March 1st through March 31st, and we're going to compare that to the data that we pulled from our last market update, which was in February. So if we take a look at the number of properties that have sold, back in February we had 157 properties that sold. That ticked up considerably in March, and we had 277 properties that sold last month between March 1st and March 31st. That's not necessarily a surprise given the time of year. It's the springtime market. Also, there are more sellers that are willing to put their homes on the market this time of year. There are definitely buyers still out there looking. So that means that there are more houses making it to the closing table. So not necessarily a surprise that we had a nice uptick in our sold number of properties. If we take a look at our average sales price, back in February, we were looking at $237,450 on average. That was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. If we look at our most recent average sold price, it actually increased to $250,451. $250,451. So that's a nice increase. Again, not necessarily a surprise. It's the springtime market. Also, it probably has something to do with the fact that inventory is still tight. There are very few houses on the market, and there are still a lot of buyers out there looking. That leads to bidding wars. It leads to increases in sales price. So again, not necessarily a surprise to see those sales prices tick up a little bit. So if we take a look at our average days on the market, that's the amount of time between when a property is listed and when it actually makes it to the closing table. So on average in February, we were seeing 73 days on market. In March, we did tick up a little bit to 80 days on market, but nothing ridiculous to report there, nothing substantial. If we take a look at our list price to sale price ratio, this is interesting. So on average, in the month of March, sellers are earning 97.91%, almost 98% of their list price. So that means that at closing, sellers are receiving almost 98% of their list price. So that's great news if you're thinking about selling. Definitely buyers are willing to pay top dollar for homes because there are so few homes on the market. And again, sellers are reaping the benefits by seeing higher list price to sale price ratios. So I wanted to take a minute today to talk to you a little bit about our inventory levels. I'm sure you've heard it a lot, that inventory is really tight. That leads to a hot seller's market. Houses aren't staying on the market very long. Houses are going in multiple offers, sometimes in bidding wars. And I wanted to break that down according to our Pittsburgh data, break it down price range by price range, and see if there are pockets of our market that perhaps are not experiencing that hot seller's market. And it turns out that there are pockets of our market here in Pittsburgh that aren't experiencing that hot seller's market. So if we take a look, when we talk in terms of inventory levels, we typically talk in terms of months of housing supply. So what that means is that we take a look at the number of active properties on the market, and if no new properties became available, how many months would it take for those properties to be absorbed by the buyers that are out there right now? So typically speaking, 6 months of housing supply is a balanced market. Anything less than 6 months is considered a seller's market. There's lower amounts of inventory. Anything more than 6 months is considered a buyer's market. There's a lot of inventory to choose from, so buyers are in the driver's seat. So on average, Pittsburgh is sitting right now at a 2.4 month supply, which is very, very low. So there are only 2 months of housing inventory available. Like I said, balanced market is 6 months, so 2 months is less than half. That's very low. That's why you're seeing multiple offers, bidding wars, houses flying off the market, so on and so forth. So if we break that down into $250,000 and less, so our entry-level price range, $250,000 and less, our month supply is actually sitting at 1.5 1.5 months. 1.5 months of housing inventory. That is way low. So if you are thinking of selling and you are in that price range, now is an amazing time to do so, because there are extremely low inventory levels there. And I guarantee you, buyer demand is still very high. And if we take a look at buyers that are out there looking in that price range, they will tell you that there's multiple offers, there's bidding wars, it's incredibly cutthroat. So if you're thinking of selling, that's an opportunity area for you. If we take a look at our next price range, which is $250,000 to $400,000, kind of our move up price range, if you already own a home and you're moving up, that price range is sitting at 2.9 months of inventory. So again, 6 months is a balanced market, 2.9 months, you're almost at 3 months. That's half of what we need for a balanced market. So you still are in a very tight inventory situation there. So even if you're in the move up market here in Pittsburgh, it's still an opportunity for you to sell for top dollar in the least amount of time. So it's definitely an opportunity area for you. Now, if we look at $400,000 and up, so that's kind of, I guess you could call it luxury, but it encompasses both 400 and the whole way up to the top of the market. We are actually, it's interesting, we're sitting at a 7.6 month supply, which means we're not even a balanced market. We are in a buyer's market in that price range. There are more houses than there are buyers. We're sitting at a 7.6 month supply. That means it would take 7.6 months for that inventory to be absorbed by the current buyers that are out there. So if you're selling in that 400 and up price range and you're noticing that days on the market is getting a little bit longer, maybe you're not getting as many showings, it's taking a little bit longer, that is why, because you are actually in a buyer's market. So if you're listening to the national media and you're hearing them say, we're in such tight inventory and we're having multiple offers and bidding wars, and that's not your experience, that could be why. That's what we call a dual market, meaning that we have both symptoms of a buyer's market and symptoms of a seller's market in the same general geographic area. So just wanted to break that down a little bit for you guys, because it is confusing to a lot of people. If you're hearing the national hype and the national news and your real estate experience is not lining up with that, it can be frustrating. And so our job is to educate you on those types of things so that then you can make informed real estate decisions. So I hope that you found this helpful today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. Place all of your comments and questions down below, and we certainly will get to those. And give me a thumbs up if you found this information to be helpful for you today, guys. Thank you again so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.